Hello, my name is Lynette Sheard, and on behalf of Gregory Burrus Productions, we are here again. We are here documenting artistic history here, and we have a special guest with us. She's already on the screen, you guys. Kim Clarke, Kim A. Clarke, but Kim Clarke of Lady Got Chops. Yes, she is here with us. So welcome, 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 Kim.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for having me. I think this might be my first interview on Zoom, but thank you for the opportunity.
Well, absolutely. And if any of you who are not familiar with her amazing career, it's volumes and volumes of accomplishments, from business owner to working with Joe Henderson and Art Blakely and Mary Lou Williams and Bertha Hope, who Gregory Burrus is convinced that he lived across the street or on the same street
Okay.
as Bertha Hope.
Mm-hmm.
And he wanted to know what she was like. But you have performed with some historic personalities, or should I say they've performed with you as well. Is there anyone or any personality or talent that stands out for you that has really influenced you in your presentation?
In terms of actual playing or in terms of putting together a festival?
You know what? However you want. How about both, as performing or putting together a festival?
I think, okay, the first person I have to mention is oh God, I've got a lot of history. Wow. I think Barry Harris, and he just recently passed, is a big influence as a teacher and as a provider for a space for one artist to grow. He did a lot of teaching. I met him in like the late 70s and whatever. But I wanted to say that the Jazz Culture Theater was a place where I met a lot of those folks that you've seen in my bio. And he had a storefront, and he did teaching in the daytime and performances at night, where he would feature different groups. And then after that, we'd have the after-hour jam session, when everyone who's in the area in passing through New York would come, because it's open. It starts at 3 and goes like 8 in the morning on Sundays. So, and I was like the house bassist for that. And that's when I got to meet all those people and where Joe Henderson heard of me from. But that was really due to, studying with Barry, and also, having the opportunity to work with Art Blakey every weekend when he was in town. He would start the jam session off. And other gigs would spring out of that, but I wasn't, I don't say I toured with all those folks listed. I say I performed with them maybe once or twice, or maybe, but I've done a lot of tours too. And I guess Joe Bowie, on the other hand, is another one. I worked with him from I guess 1981 until like the pandemic, pretty much. And we went through Europe and did a lot of road work, like from Scandinavia down to the bottom of Corsica and Sicily and all that. And we also did Japan a few times too. So yeah. And then Kid McClure, that's another one. I did a lot of
and I'm looking at here the Beijing Blue Note.
Yeah, we did that. That was with one of Barry's students, as a matter of fact. That whole Beijing idea should have probably gone to Barry, because it was one of his students that was trying to arrange a tour for him, and I guess Barry's health wasn't the best, and I'm so honored that he mentioned me, to do it. Really great. Yeah.
Isn't that something, as you're explaining the process, how organic it was, just how creativity just flows, and the energy of it just attracts, just talent. And you've been absolutely surrounded by it, and you are that person that inspires others. And I'm thinking about, I say BC, before COVID, pre-pandemic, Black Girls Rock Orchestra. How can you talk about how that
happened? Black Girls Rock. Okay. I was, I don't know who exactly turned me on to that, but I know that they wanted me to be in the orchestra for that. And that's an unusual place for me, because I'm not really an orchestra type person, but there were two of us acoustic bass players, and they wanted us to I guess we recorded some string pieces, and then we were visualized in, but I think they were playing the tracks instead of us playing, but we were just there. So it was but I wasn't in the regular band that was there. So. But it was it was interesting because I mean, walking through the halls, I saw Gladys Knight sitting in there, and I'm like, oh my God, that's Gladys. I went down another hall. I said, let me go. Then here comes Hillary Clinton up the stairwell. I'm like, oh my God, it's Hillary Clinton. So
it's interesting. Yeah.
Crazy places. Yeah.
You've been in some amazing places, but through your festival, you've created those spaces for other people. And if you think about it, I mean, the spaces that you've created, of those spaces, and I know you talked about, who I asked the question as far as influence you, as far as your musicianship, but as far as creating a festival, who would you say is that influence?
Okay, I'd say that my first idea of creating a festival basically came from Dr. Joan Cartwright, because she said that I recorded with her a tape that was able to bring her to Europe to tour. And so in response to that, later on, she moved to Florida and she decided to have something called a Gaia Fest. And she had me as the band leader and told me to bring Bertha Hope and Bernice Brooks. And there were other groups that came down. So that was inspiring to see how she could, pull it all together, get backing from local businesses, which I haven't been that, I haven't done that a lot. But she was able to, we all had hotels and stuff. I mean, it's like a grassroots type of thing. We played at in a baseball field and then a music school, and we had dinners together. We had a good time. It was a homegirl doing it like what you see in Europe, which is very, very well organized. They're very, very well organized over there. So I said, well, let me, I tried to, I wanted to create something and reciprocate that experience of being accepted and loved as an artist, which is something that you get in when you go to overseas. And oh wow, there's so much on my mind. It's all jumbling together. But I think that okay, like as far as Europe is concerned, a lot of the venues that I played in were post World War II venues that the folks use these wine killers and these war bunkers and whatnot to make spaces for people to do art. I think art helped to rebuild Europe back.
Yes.
It was one of the things that, and exchange of culture, even from like the First World War. And I think the man's name is Reese Europe, and he had a black big band that came through there. So the music has left an impression with the people, and it's something that I hope will be able to help cure the situations that we got going on right now. So that's something else,
So how did you come up with the name Lady Got Chops? Where did that come from?
I'll tell you. Okay, Lady Got Chops was born in Brooklyn. There was a lady who didn't know anything about jazz. She and her daughter walk into a room for a Kwanzaa. And they say, "Oh, I like it. I think I can have jazz here." So they opened a place called the Jazz Spot, and they took a statue of Prez and put it on the outside whenever they were open, so people knew that music was going on in there. And so I happened to meet them, and they said, "Well, where are the other?" After I started working there, they started saying, "Oh, where are the other female musicians?" And I said, "Well, I know plenty because I work with the Kit McClure Big Band, and I know people from all over the world women that play." And so we decided to. She said, "Well, there's Women's History Month that's coming up. And basically, let's do something." Now, Lady Got Chops came from Baby Got Back.
Well, oh, seriously?
Yes. I said, we got to be working more than just back, okay? We got this, we're raising kids, we're going to do all this stuff. And that's why it's not ladies or women. It's called Lady Got Chops. And to Baby Got Back. That was the song that was out then. I'm like,
I remember.
So that's where that name came from. Yeah. But we started, and she had a budget to handle bands each weekend, and so we started with that. And we also charged at the door and all that, and they made the money and all that to try to, try to sustain. And after it closed, the lady who owned it was Lilith Myers and her daughter Tisha Merritt. Tisha still has a store in Brooklyn selling juices, a juice bar, but Lilith passed this past year. So we have a scholarship this year in Lilith's name and in Barry Harris's name because they both passed recently. So that's what's going on, with us. But after they closed, people are saying, "Oh, you're going to do the festival anymore? What's going to happen?" And a friend of mine was working in a pizza parlor. She says, "Okay, I got jazz in the pizza parlor. We can have those dates." Another friend of mine says, "Okay, I want you to keep doing this, and I'm booking the Zinc Bar now. We can get you some gigs in there." And I just started just piecing things together, for the different bands. And then it became so crazy because partially it's me booking and partially it's just me advertising for free. So as long as you're a woman and you want to, promote your event, just let me know. Be it the dance community, arts, I just want to we just decided to make it a celebration of Women's History Month. Whatever you're doing, just tell me what it is and I'll just put it up on the calendar. And so when COVID struck, that knocked out the whole the 20th, what was it, the 18th? I think it was the 18th festival. And so I just decided, well, am I going to stop this or am I? I started putting on videos of things, when people passed away or historical videos. Like the one that's very, very good find is about Nika de Koningswater. She was the lady who basically gave Thelonious Monk and Charlie Parker and Barry Harris a home to live in when they were going through their dire straits. And Barry passed away in that same house. I mean, living in that same place in New Jersey. So I wanted to let people know about her, how important she was, how she was always around the jazz musicians and always tried to give them a hand and, help them and promote them and support them. And so I said, we have to put something about Nika in there. So there's a video. It's like about an hour and a half in the beginning of the calendar, and you can see it. So I learned how to make websites from scratch. So that's basically where all this came from, making websites and putting links in there, and that's basically it. Yeah.
And you know what, you pretty much answered the other question as far as what is the criteria for performing. It sounds like you have to be a woman, you have to be a lady.
Yeah.
And
also try to hire some women musicians. That's the other thing. That in the beginning we were like, okay, no guys at all. But then it's like, come on now. And it was all jazz and like, what do you mean can't have R&B? Okay, so it's jazz is R&B. So it just got bigger. Got bigger and bigger, So whatever you're doing, if you're an aerialist, I don't care.
Yes, and that was it, because when you said dance, when you threw that in, I was like, okay, wow, because you think chops, you think just chops, you think singing,
just playing, right?
Absolutely, but chops can mean so many different things, whatever you're good at.
That's right.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you're in the culinary arts, then you have some extraordinary things, I put it on there too, sure.
So you've done, first of all, you are history. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that we are, I don't mean, in a good way, that you are a part of history. You're creating history. You're creating those spaces that were provided for you.
Right.
And to be okay with, and to be brave enough to say, yes, I want a space for women, especially during Women's History Month right now, which is the focus. I mean, Women's History is every month.
Right.
But this is the time that, the world decides to focus on it. But this has been your focus for decades.
Yeah.
And so to have you, with all that you bring, your historical insight, the careers that you've launched, that you've seen flourish, that continue to feed and inspire, you're going to be here. You're going to be here in Newark, New Jersey, I understand, on March 2nd.
Right.
At Clements.
Yes.
And so what can we expect when people roll up in there and see Kim Clarke?
Well, you will see Kim Clarke with Yayoi Ikawa and Luciana Padmore. And these are two musicians that I work with quite often. I work with Lucy with the Birth of Hope group. And I've worked with Yayoi in a band that I had called the Opera Ninjas, and also um, in just various jazz gigs around. But she's a very interesting and very talented young lady. Both of them are very, very interesting and talented. And I'm just going to put my seatbelt on and let them take let them take care of everything, musically. I'm looking forward to the gig.
What a freeing feeling that is when you are surrounded by talent like that, when you're good. Whatever's going to happen, it's going to be good.
Right. Yes, I'm praying that everything will be smooth and wonderful, and I think it will. I also have another couple of gigs in New Jersey, and I'm like, oh,
yeah, come on, tell us.
At the Brothers Smokehouse.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be on the 11th with Bertha Hope, and on the 25th with my band, which I'm calling the Ace of Spades, because the friend of mine has that card as his personal card. So he's going to be on the gig, and I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to let you bowl him over with all your fancy notes. So but these are
now you gonna play with him even though he's not a woman?
Yeah,
I'm just playing.
No, but a lot of times, most of the entire festival has been women all together and women led. Most of these ladies have and each year I'm wondering if I'm going to continue on with this, and then someone say, "You're doing the festival? I got this gig," and blah blah blah, and then I start back up. But but it's really now it's actually a 501c3 now. So so I guess I'm committed. But
and you are, yeah.
I'm trying to keep it going.
So, Kim, how can people find you? What's the best place that people can find out about Lady Got Chops and everything else that you have planned, or your calendar, or moving forward? How can we find you?
Okay, you can go to ladygotchops.com. Just one word. And you can, it's a pretty big, it's like I said, a homemade website. So you got to keep scrolling down. And on the right, you'll see the calendar that's that we're going to have this year. And all the other calendars are listed on that same front index page. So you can look back and see who else has participated. I also put a dedication page for the folks that we have lost in the past year. And on the bottom of that dedication page, I have a list of all the people who have performed that have been in Lady Got Chops events, because they don't always know that's what's happening. Their band leader calls, "Can you put me on them?" And then they don't, maybe the rest of the band may not know that we've been promoting them. But I'm trying to keep it going. I'm trying to, despite the, what can I say, the limitations of Facebook, because we were doing a lot of the promotion on Facebook. Once you start paying for ads, then they want you to pay for them all the time. And then, like people that see what you're doing get smaller and smaller because they want you to give that money. So, it's a challenge. It's a challenge. I mean, when I first started with the first one, I tried to make flyers, and I sent it to all the hair salons in the area of Brooklyn where the and the libraries, and asked the people to please post these. And I don't think it did very much. So I'm praying that the internet and this will help some more, the Zoom situation. And I just wanted to say that I am very grateful that they did invent this Zoom platform, because I'm going back to my teacher, Barry Harris. I got a chance to do a lot of classes with him, and it's like a one-on-one thing where, he could look at us and tell us what to do and give us information. And it was, when he had classes, people used to run around the piano, and you couldn't, if you weren't over there with your camera first, you couldn't see what was going on. You had to depend on your ears and try to understand. But the piano is, it's good to see everything in black and white and translate it to your instrument. That's just so that whole I'm very grateful to John Webster and his wife for putting that platform together for us to take Zoom classes with Barry. It was awesome. Yeah.
One more question before I let you go.
Okay.
So with social media, and it sounds like you're going to continue as your 501c3. This is going to continue to be organic, and it's going to continue to grow, and it's going to, it kind of creates itself now. It's almost, how can people, if there are performers who are interested in being a part of the Ladies Got Chopped series or on your calendar, would they just go to that? Would they just go to your website, go to the ladygotchops.com?
Actually, they could send me an email.
Okay. And we'll make sure that we put your email when Greg puts all this together for us, that we have the links to your email so that when people watch this in replay, they can actually just click on the link and find you.
Absolutely no problem with that.
So that's really it. I want to leave on behalf of Gregory Burrus Productions. It was my honor to speak with you, and I want to give you the final word. Is there anything else that you think that you want to share with your audience? You have the final word.
The final word. Stay safe. Pray for peace. I have a formula that may be a little bit off, but cayenne pepper, star anise, lime steeped in hot water is a good anti-COVID tonic. Something that you could use.
I wasn't expecting that, Kim, but but you know what? It's medicine, and so is your music. So thank you so much for the opportunity to speak with you, and see you all March 2nd and those other dates. Bye-bye.
Yes. Bye now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Gregory Burrus, your live music ambassador. I am very happy you were able to join us on our journey of keeping jazz alive as we talk with some of the best performing jazz professionals on the live music circuit today. We hope you enjoyed the interview, and we hope to have many more. So please join us right here on our channel as we continue keeping jazz alive.